Black lives matter. Black lives do matter. All lives matter. Is this about racism? Is this about slavery? There are a list of statues which have been set up around London which are being targeted right at this moment. A statue is a sculpture, it's a piece of art, and I'm going to get to that later. Julius Caesar enslaved 53,000 people in one day in Gaul. Julius Caesar's sculpture is in Tower Hill and it's not being targeted. Why not? If you can target people that have enslaved other people, why aren't we targeting Julius Caesar? What's the difference? Do we actually like that part of history, or is it so far away it doesn't matter anymore? It's obvious the system needs to change. It's obvious that there are many problems in society, but why change now? Why now? Why have all these statues been up for 20, 30 years? Why haven't the local governments taken them down? Because they've been leaving it for an occasion like this, to get the people to explode, to get the people to go crazy. Order out of chaos is the motto of the Masons. And I'm asking, what is the order? Where is it going? And what do they want? In about 10 to 20 years, we are going to have transhumanism. Transhumanism is when the body is going to be linked up to artificial intelligence. We're going to have implants in our bodies. We are no longer going to be human. We're going to be post-human. And to get to that stage, you have to destroy culture, because it's culture which is going to stop people, or it's culture which is keeping people human. And if you want a transhuman or a post-human, then you have to completely change the human culture. So at this moment, we are seeing a deconstruction of culture. And I fear that that is being used for the Black Lives Matter and for other, and for the feminists and for the other cults that are going on in our societies. The feminists are turning against the feminists. What the plan is to create division. The feminists are turning against the feminists. J.K. Rowling is arguing with her protege, Emma Watson. Emma Watson, who became famous from J.K. Rowling, says that J.K. Rowling saying that women menstruate is wrong, and that if a man becomes a woman and says he's a woman, then therefore he is a woman. So there is division again inside the cults of feminism. Then there's going to be division inside transgenderism. There's going to be division in all of the society, so that society turns against itself and implodes. You have white people that love Britain, and they are helping Black Lives Matter against people like Winston Churchill that made Britain Britain. The reason why English people speak English and not German is because of Winston Churchill. But Winston Churchill was a racist. So therefore Winston Churchill is a bad person, and therefore he should have his sculpture taken down. And you're turning white people against white people that want to protect Winston Churchill but aren't racist, white people that are racist and want to protect Winston Churchill, white people that aren't racist that want Winston Churchill to go. You have Nelson, Horatio Nelson. The reason why we don't speak French or Spanish is because of him. So what do we do? Do we love the culture that we have, which has been made by racists? Or now, after the racists have given us our culture, do we now go back and say that we don't want them? Had Hitler beaten England, Hitler would have cleansed England of everything. When the French troops that had come from Africa were caught by Hitler, he executed them. What do you think he would have done in England? So you have one racist, Churchill, standing up against another racist, but Churchill isn't such a big racist that he's going to start killing all the black people in his own country. Where is the line? Where's the line stopping and starting? You've got Aristotle, Plato and Socrates, who again, back in their day were in a society with slaves, and they saw it natural. Should we stop studying these people because they were pro-slavery? Is not our culture based on them? Should we start to dismantle our culture based on Aristotelian and Platonic ideals? The Catholic Church is based on Aristotelian ideals when it moved away from the Platonic ideals with Gnosticism. Should we now start to deconstruct the ideology set about by Thomas Aquinas, because the ideology is based on some ideas that came from a racist? Margaret Thatcher knew that paedophilia was happening in her government. What's worse, racism or paedophilia? There are sculptures of Margaret Thatcher in London. Should we take them down because she did nothing about paedophilia? Nelson Mandela set up an institution with Rhodes, or the Rhodes Institution, who is the racist whose sculpture people want to take down. What happens there when you have a black person making scholarships happen with old white racists that are dead? Does that mean that Nelson Mandela didn't want Rhodes to have his sculpture taken down? Other parts of the culture are also being dismantled. The person that set up the police is a global organisation. It came from England. It came from Mr. Peel. He's being targeted. The Scouts, Lord Baden-Powell, he's being targeted. When you're attacking the people and you're destroying the people, are they allowed forgiveness? And if they're not, are the things that they stood for also part of the problem of the system and should also be dismantled as well? Are we blaming the racism in the police because Peel was a racist who set it up? Should we get rid of Michael Jackson's music and delete it from history because he touched children? Should we get rid of Picasso's work because Picasso said women should be treated like a doormat? Should we get rid of all artists that were homosexuals because perhaps people don't agree with homosexuality? Today, homosexuality is accepted, but let's say in the future, you've got a group of people that say, no, we don't like homosexuals, and we therefore want to destroy all the sculptures of homosexuals. You've got Leonardo, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo. Do you destroy their work now because they had a propensity to be something which wasn't what the modern narrative wanted? So when the deconstruction happens, the deconstruction has to happen on a slow basis, and it has to go through an organization and a process. Because if you let the mob rule, then in the future, if they start to have ideals that perhaps aren't correct, because remember, the people supported Hitler, the people supported Mao, the people supported Lenin, the people supported fascist dictators. The modern narrative changes. We think that we've got objective truths, but we have to realize that perhaps these are also sometimes subjective truths. But what is the order that they want to install into human society? They want to get rid of humans. They want to get rid of sex. They want to get rid of color. That's what the transhumanism is all about. And so in order to get people to dissolve, to atomize themselves, you start to deconstruct the society, and you base the deconstruction of society on noble causes, like getting rid of institutional racism, which I completely agree with. But if it's not watched and you allow the mob to dictate to the masses what is and isn't, then you run a very, very dark course of destroying the culture that you had. Now, if you don't want the culture and you wish to go towards transhumanism, this is the perfect way to do it.